Your parents in your childhood were young, full of romantic ideas. In fact, the young man wants to be recognized, his greatest need is attention. If you are a theist, who is going to give you any attention? There are millions of theists. It is a very common thing. But to be an atheist, you immediately start getting attention. That fulfills the ego. And the trouble is that the atheist can always defeat any other kinds of believers. The atheist can win an argument with any theist. Because the theist has no evidence, no eyewitness about what happens after death, because nobody comes back after death. And nobody tells you stories about what is beyond death. So it is left up to your imaginations. Of course, older people start imagining a god, otherwise they will be so helpless without the body. Wandering like a cloud with no direction, no purpose. They need God. God is the need of the old man. Children don't care, they are forced to believe in God. The old man is again in a similar situation, but far more difficult and complex. A child can easily be molded, he is soft, vulnerable, imitative. The old man feels for 70, 80 years. He has been a certain kind of person. His personality has become consolidated, and now at the moment of death, it is very difficult for him to undo himself. That is why the old are in despair. Why did they get divorced? As youth leaves you one day, it takes many things from you, it does not go alone. It takes all your paintings, all your poetries, all your music, all your dances. It takes all your love, and leaves behind something utterly empty. Dark, nobody to take care of. Children must have been frowned up by now. They must be passing through revolutionary, rebellious stages, perhaps they may be hippies. They don't care about you. You have lived your life, they want to live their lives. They may be somewhere in Kabul, in Kulu Manali, in Kathmandu, in Goa. They are enjoying their youthfulness and its freedom, and they have energy to waste. They must be taking marijuana, hashish, opium, LSD. They don't care even if they are imprisoned. I have known many people who have been imprisoned for using drugs that government declared illegal. But imprisonment does not help. Out of the prison, they are again on the same track. Kabul, Kulu, Manali, Kathmandu, Goa. Goa is their destination. These are just stopping, resting places. Goa is the final goal. By the way, just a little drifting. All the Christian countries are against marijuana, LSD, hashish, but they are not against alcohol, which is far more dangerous to health. Why? Because Jesus himself was a drunkard, his apostles were all drinking. So alcohol has some religious significance for the Christians. The Christian community or the Christian country cannot prohibit it. Prohibiting it, making it illegal, means you are raising questions against Christ and his behavior. You are doubting the great 12 apostles. And if Jesus can drink wine, not only that, if he changed water into wine, how can you say wine is illegal? If wine is illegal, then Christ was not doing a miracle, but was committing a crime by turning water into wine. Christians accept alcohol, it is strange, and they deny LSD. For the simple reason that LSD was not available to Jesus Christ. Otherwise, I can say with certainty that Jesus Christ and all his apostles would have been taking LSD and smoking real grass. They had to confine themselves only alcohol, that was the only drug available. You ask me what went wrong with your parents? Everything. First, they got married. If they were not married, at least they would have saved you from this life. And they were so much involved with painting, poetry, dances. I have never heard their names as great painters, or as great poets, or as great dancers. But in youth the balloon of the ego is big. You write a third-rate letter and you call it a love letter. Most probably you have copied it from a third-rate novel, or from a movie. You perform the act of love, it is some kind of exercise, it is not love. Real love is possible only to the meditator, that is his reward. A man who does not know himself, a woman who does not know herself. These two ignorant people fall in love with each other. And out of this ignorance you are born. And sooner or later, those who ignorant people become fed up with each other. Now your parents are living separately, alone, in despair, in desperation. What is their desperation? Now your father knows that his paintings are just stupid. These same painting that looked as if a new Picasso had been born. His poems look like rubbish. There is nothing in them, he was just putting words together in a certain order. These poems are created, composed, they have not been given birth. The real poet gives birth to his poetry. He breathes it, his heart beats in it. In the moment he is pouring for his poetry, his music. His dance, he is not there. If he is there, then the poetry and the dance. And the music will remain mediocre. One has to disappear, in the act so totally that nothing is left behind. One of the great poets, Coleridge, was asked by a professor, "I want to come and see you, because I am in trouble. Your poetry I have to teach to the students. There are a few lines, statements in your poetry, which I find difficult to explain, and the students are asking me. I feel embarrassed to say that I don't know, and I have a doctorate in literature. I thought it better I come to you and ask the meaning of those lines." Coleridge said, "You can come, but remember, I am also in great difficulty." The professor said, "About your poetry you are in difficulty?" He said, "Yes. When I wrote them, two persons knew the meaning of what I was writing, God and I. Now only God knows. I cannot figure out myself what the hell I have done." An authentic poet is not present, he gives way for the poetry to flow from him. And the same is true about music and dance, sculpture and architecture, about everything that is beautiful. If they come out of a meditative state, then they are not ego products. Ego products are going to be very ordinary. Now, let me come back. Why have your parents divorced? You are asking me what has gone wrong. The romance is over. Romance is nothing permanent. It is just like the wind, it comes. You feel the coolness, the breeze, and then it is gone. It is like the flowers blossoming in the early morning sun, so beautiful, so colorful, so magical that even dewdrops on their petals look like pearls. But by the evening the petals are falling, the flower is disappearing. Romance is just a flower. It is not a coincidence that the hippies and their type of people were called flower people. They will blossom and they will disappear. There is no need to bother about them. It happens, this disease, to every young person. And if your mother was also a dancer, then certainly both were artists. It happens more to the artistic people. They are against the whole world, against everything, because they think they can create a new world. The old poetry, the old paintings are nothing to them. And their very ordinary painting is just the greatest piece of art. In youth you can believe in anything. And when you can believe in your creativity, poetry, music, it is easy to drop believing in God, in religion, because you have found your own opium. You don't need the Pope to supply opium to you. You grow your marijuana in your own garden. There is no need to get it from all kinds of peddlers. But one day youth is going to disappear. And the day youth disappears, you have entered into the arena of death. Old age is only a preparation for death. Now they must be feeling empty. Their art has failed, their love has failed. Their revolution has failed, but the ego is still there. The ego cannot go against itself. If it has been an atheist all its life, it cannot become suddenly a theist. That is the desperation. Otherwise, just as youth has its opium, old age has its own opium. Believe in God, believe in Jesus Christ, believe in the Messiah. He will save you, he will take you into the kingdom of God.